What's going on, guys? This is the 5 Air Pass podcast with me, Suddy and Shyam, bringing you the Wolves versus Spurs fixture. Sorry. Uh, both teams have had a lot of changes in the last 6 to 8 months, I guess. Both teams losing managers, getting new managers in, and obviously the narrative with Nuno coming over. Lots of Portuguese in the mix. It's a lot going on. Wolves obviously lost to Leicester in the first game of the season. Spurs had a huge surprise win and a great goal as well. I thought they, in spells, they outplayed City. I got to say, it was, besides Brentford Arsenal, was probably the surprise of the round. I have to say. Sham, talk us through Wolves, how they played in a little bit, and Leicester Spurs, how they played against Man City, and how this is going to kind of permeate into this game.
Yeah, it's the Nuno derby, isn't it?
Nuno derby.
It's the new name for it now. I called it first. Wolves had a disappointing year last year. They were just disappointing quite generally. I think they were fifth worst in terms of goals scored, and they were at the bit of an end of an era. I don't think they recovered very well from getting to the Europa quarters, having a shortened preseason, horrific injury to Jimenez. I still remember the picture of it, like Luis has sort of grabbed him by the mouth and then headbutted him. Like I know it's all instinctive and unintentional, but it looked brutal. And I think as a football club, they needed to start over. And they had a pretty good result. What was it last week? They did lose to Leicester, but I think that in terms of trying to start over, it wasn't the worst thing that happened. I shouldn't say pretty good, but it was a decent result. They had about 17 different shots on goal, so it shows that they're creating, but they only had the 3 on target, so it shows that they're probably still missing a striker. But to be able to create those opportunities against a team that is known for the defensive solidity, I think is quite noteworthy. Tottenham had a plan. They got that game on their terms. Man City were at them for 15 minutes, and then a bit like the big bad wolf, they just couldn't blow the house down, and Tottenham got their foot into the game. The thing that Tottenham did quite well against City was they had outlets. Under Mourinho, the front three, that 4-3-3, the front three, they kept getting pulled back and back. So when you clear the ball, it's just going to come back. But they kept the shape well enough in defense that when they cleared it, they had bodies and they had numbers, and they scored that goal from a counter-attack, and they looked very dangerous on the counter. And if you told me that they could beat City without Kane, I would have laughed at you. But they got the game on their terms and played it the way that they wanted to, and they deserved that result.
To that point, what for me differs, I don't know if you know, but Nuno was on the bench, I think, when Mourinho won the Champions League with Porto. He was a reserve keeper.
Yeah.
So they have quite great. Yeah. Anyway, the difference between Nuno and Mourinho relies a lot on instinctiveness of players, of men, rather than, he gives you a plan. He's like, men, this is what you're meant to do. Go off and do it. Nuno obviously has a very specific tactical nuance that, for me, at the minute in this game, he's a better manager in that sense than Mourinho.
It's more an attack. Like when Mourinho defensively is very you here, but in attack he tends to let those players express themselves. So when you've got, like at Real Madrid, he got Ronaldo, Benzema, Higuain, Ozil, 100 La Liga record of goals because he allows them to express themselves. But when the players and even Harry Kane played most of the season under Mourinho and had a record season. So, and Harry Kane's got great football IQ, but the other players don't quite have the same football IQ.
Exactly. And to your point, Inter and Chelsea, these years at Inter and Chelsea, again, great defenses, strikers, Gabriel Milito, Robben.
Who was the great player in his Inter Milan team? Wesley Sneijder, a very instinctive footballer. Yeah,
exactly. All right, let's get to the team news, Sham. So who's in, who's out?
So probably a lot more players out in terms of, in terms of the teams out for the season. I think Tottenham, they've gone and got Cristiano Romero. So I think that's a big pickup for them. I thought defensively they were very poor last year. Sort of Eric Dyer became the symbol of their malaise, and Sergio Aurier as well. But they played a lot of football. I think Romero, it looks like it's initially a loan with an option to purchase, but or how do they put it? A compulsory purchase at the end of the loan. That's probably an FFP thing. But I think he's not quite Cristiano Ronaldo, but I think Cristiano Romero, I think, will be a good pickup for them. Hoping he can marshal that defense. Wolves have not really had any changes. They changed goalkeepers. Rui Patricio's gone to Jose Mourinho, funnily enough, at Roma.
To Roma,
And they've got in the Olympiacos keeper, Jose Sarr. So in terms of that, sort of minimal changes. Tottenham have had a lot of people out. We talked about a game last season when they played West Ham, and they had Bale, Kane, Lamella, Lucas Moura, Dele Alli, and Son on the field at the same time with is it Bergwijn and is it Los Santo? Is it?
Yeah, Lo Celso.
Lo Celso, sorry. So that
Yeah.
all of this attacking talent, some of it's gone now. Lamella's gone. Kane, is he going to play or not? I don't know. Bale's gone. So they've shrunk that down a bit, but they managed to. I think Son will probably play up front. I think, assuming that Kane doesn't play, and I actually don't think that Kane will play. I think that they'll probably give him a bit more time off, and they'll probably not play him until the situation is resolved in regards to this transfer. But Son I think is a pretty good. Son's as good a forward as you can get if you're not got Harry.
He's a top five. He's a top 5 left winger in the world, without a doubt.
I do think he could go and play 9 though without Kane. Not necessarily long term, but in a one-off game or a couple of games without Kane, I do think he will move into the 9 role.
This Kane situation is very much. It reminds me of the De Gea situation back in 2015 or 16 when he was meant to go to Madrid and Van Gaal sat him out for a month, and he did him wonders. He had a specky that season, and he got Player of the Year and all that, as he did for like four or 5 seasons previously.
4 out of 5, yeah.
So last year, obviously, Wolves got the better of Tottenham once. They drew. They won in May. Drew back in. Tottenham won in May. Excuse me. They drew back in December, and Wolves won the season before that. So there are goals in this game. How do you think the game is going to go? And give us a score and a player to watch.
You take out that result at the end of last season, the home team has not won this game for 8 fixtures, 3 draws and 5 wins by the away team. Both sides are counter-attacking in nature. Tottenham did get that result against City that way. Wolves, particularly with some of the players, I think Podence is out. There's a couple more sort of first teamers out. Podence he's an important player for them in terms of his ability to hold the ball and dictate possession. A little, my poor man's Jorginho, a bit like that sort of player. And Jorginho's still bloody good, so it's not a knock on Podence, but I do think that ability to keep shape and move forward from that shape when you win in transition will be very important. Even the Jose Mourinho documentary, he said that they lost that game 3-2 because they couldn't handle the Wolves plays in transition. The specific comment about that game, when Wolves won the ball, they would strike. So guys like Traore will be important. Guys like Son will be important. It'll be interesting to see, given it's a Wolves home game, how they go about it. Tottenham, I think, will play the same way they played against City. How Wolves go about it, because they will, to a degree, with their fans coming back for the first time in 18 months, have to try and dictate things, but they won't want to overcommit given the pace of Tottenham's attackers. So I think Wolves getting that right and how Tottenham can take advantage of that's going to be the key to this game.
Yeah, perfect. And a key player of either side.
I'm going to go Traore. I think that given that Tottenham are kind of weak in the fullback position, Reguilon is okay. Aurier has got weaknesses about him. I'd love to see Traore at muscle, one of those guys, and I see him potentially having an impact. He's got a point to prove as well. He's not been playing at the level that, this time last season we were talking about him potentially going to United. He's not playing at that level. He needs to prove himself, and I think games against big teams are a chance for that.
I just want to you've said a lot about Spurs. Wolves. I just want to say about Spurs. I just think Spurs is at a point. We've talked about that precipice years ago when they got to the Champions League final and they just did nothing as a club, as a team. They didn't upgrade. In fact, the best upgrade they got was getting Kane to sign the contract and then and signing Mourinho. That's it. For me that was a big deal.
The contract with the gentleman's agreement. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. But it just seems they just don't have any direction. I can point to many teams at many points through history. I remember Liverpool in the early 2000s. They had no direction. They were buying El Hadji Diouf and God knows who. United a few years ago. They bought half the Senegalese team. United were buying players from God knows where. And there's just no direction. Arsenal's doing that right now. There's no direction in what they're doing. And it just seems any player that goes there seems to be a little bit doomed to fail, even though they might be. Bergwijn is a good player. Aurier is a good player and all those guys. But it just seems there has to be something that ties them together, whether that's better management, whether better board, better players around them. I don't know what it is.
It's a very good point. It's a very good point because individually, each of those players are very good.
Very good players.
Dombele's a good player. Højbjerg's a good player.
Yeah, and Dombele as well. Yeah.
Eric Dyer played for England. Hugo Lloris captain a World Cup winning side. Like they're good players. But like you said, that there is that lack of direction. maybe Nuno. One of the things is that sort of identity. Like Ollie's done it quite well. He's probably done it a lot slower than people would have liked, but he's given the team, we're going to go get young British talent. We're going to go and try and play a certain way. And he's struggled in implementing that, but he's gotten there slowly. He still has a way to go, but he's getting there slowly. You'd hope that Nuno, or assuming he gets sacked soon, which he might, I don't know. But whoever's the manager now is given that time to create an identity for a team. People forget that football philosophy can take time to embed. And when we look for these sort of short-term getting results, you can lose your way and lose your identity in that. Because there's that whole balance between playing football to win and playing football to play football. And when you play football to win, you forget that you're playing football at the same time. And the genuinely great teams, the Barca teams, the total football teams, have an identity that goes with that winning mentality. And Tottenham are maybe in regards to trying to win, lost their identity. And then now that they're not winning, you're kind of like, well, what's going on? So they need to embed, you need to embed that philosophy with an idea that you need to win, but maybe a bit more focus needs to be put on who are Tottenham and what do we represent? Because even when I was younger, and you would have seen it as well, Tottenham did have an identity. They're guys like Anderton, they had guys like Les Ferdinand. And
a strong British core,
they had a bit more flair than perhaps an average British team. They were known for playing stylish football.
Yeah.
Everyone's second team at one point in time, weren't they?
With a sprinkle, they had a strong British core with a sprinkle of that European, Italian, or the Argentine.
They got Jurgen Klinsmann in to play.
Jurgen Klinsmann as well, yeah. Geez, I had a question then. I've just completely forgotten it. Well, I guess to sum up, Tottenham is in a position where if they win, it's surprising. When they lose, it's unsurprising, and that's just I think a perfect way to sum it up. Any closing thoughts here, Shyam? Wolves Spurs going to be a cracking game. I don't think it's good with West Ham, but it's going to be a cracking game nonetheless.
I'm going to go, as they say in The Simpsons, a fast-kicking, low-scoring tie. I'm going to go with the all 1-1. I don't think either team's got enough to get over the other team. If someone wins, it'll be due to an individual error. But I'm going to go with a draw.
Yeah, I don't think Spurs are going to back up their win against City too well, and I think Wolves need to get a point. So I'd go with a draw as well. In fact, I think it's going to be 0-0. I don't think any team's going to be able to break each other down in this game. Lovely. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell us who you think is going to win this game, Wolves versus Spurs. We are the 5-Yard Pass. My name is Suddy. This is Shyam. Keep football simple, and as always,
keep passing, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.